All right, well, good afternoon. You're joining me, Michelle, from downtown, outdoors with Mother Earth, surrounded with trees, blue sky, clouds in the air, the sun is shining. The neighbors are all around me. I'm here with can-do links to learning this Tuesday. Normally I'm in the studio or in the office, so it feels really good to be outside. So we're happy, we're honored that you've joined us this Tuesday. I know there's so much going on in our lives, so we're honored that you chose to be with us. I really believe today's a great session. We got a new guest speaker in the house today. So before we get started, I always want to just take a moment, take a deep breath, hit pause, and just acknowledge Creator, acknowledge the great gifts that have been given to us to walk our good paths, to honor the dreams, to honor what we're meant to do in our lives, whether it's, in the realm of economic development, community work. We're meant to do good things. We're meant to honor Creator and meant to honor our people, and most importantly, meant to honor ourselves. So we give a shout out to Creator for all of the good gifts that help us to walk in a good way. So hi, Creator. All right, well, welcome. We're going to get started. So I'm delighted to introduce Samantha Ouellette. She's joining us from Saskatchewan. So I'm a fellow Saskatchewan Esqueo here too. So I love the province. That's where my roots are. That's where my family lives. So we're delighted that you've joined us. She's Nehea Esqueo. She is a member of the Canoe Lake Cree First Nation in Saskatchewan. Her education is the University of Saskatchewan. She has a Bachelor of Education as well as a Master's of Education with Curriculum Studies. She currently works with the Saskatchewan Indian Institute of Technologies in Saskatchewan. She is the coordinator of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So she's probably going to tell us a little bit about what she does. But she's really going to talk about her program. And I love that we are, using our language again. So the program is Miyoskamin. It's innovation and entrepreneurship. So we're looking forward to hearing what you have to share with us. We thank you for lending your time, your voice, your knowledge to today's topic. So Samantha, we welcome you, we honor you, we acknowledge, the strength of Nehea Esqueo, of women. So we really are honored to have you here and to hear your voice. So thank you for being here. So I'm going to pass this virtual mic, just letting everyone know. This is the last Tuesday of the month. And when you fill out an evaluation link, your name will be entered to win a draw. And I believe Elizabeth is doing the draw next week. So you'll get some, Visa dollars sent your way if your name is chosen. So fill out that evaluation link at the end. And then there was also an opportunity for any questions or comments. Oh my goodness. And Elizabeth just said it's a $500 Visa gift card that's up for grabs. So fill out that evaluation link and she's doing the draw tomorrow. So we love to hear your voice. So questions, answers after today's presentation, bring them, and also use that chat box as well. So Matthew, well, good luck to you. It's your 40th birthday tomorrow. Good luck on that draw. That would be an excellent birthday gift, hey? All right, so I'm going to pass it over to you, Samantha. Thank you so much for being here. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being patient. I got the time differences mixed up, so I was running up to our conference room because I got the phone call, like, you start in 2 minutes. Like, I'm so sorry. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for the introduction. And I do want to say, I want to trade you spaces. I want to be outside. Like, I want to be with nature. I don't want to be in this boardroom. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. I put together a PowerPoint today just to share more a bit about our Miyoskamin program and a little bit on our Indigenous Accelerator project that I'm part of. So move this. Okay, so you can all see this, I'm hoping. Yeah, thank you. All right. So today I'm going to talk to you about the Miyoskamin Innovation Entrepreneurship Program. So Tansei everyone, Samantha Ouellette. So as was said earlier, my family roots connect me to the Lake Cree First Nation, except I'm currently on Treaty 6 territory in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and this is where I currently call home. I am the program coordinator for innovation and entrepreneurship. Okay, so first up, I wanted to talk a little bit about who we are at SIIT before we kind of get into the program and our initiatives that we're running through our project. So at SIIT, we are Indigenous. So in 1976, SIIT was established by First Nation leaders to carry out the vision and the needs of our communities and citizens. So that vision remains strong and dedicated. So today, as an Indigenous institution governed by First Nation leaders, our vibrant learning community is made up of more than 90% Indigenous students and 65% Indigenous staff. So with our province-wide reach, SIIT programs are available wherever you are. Some of the initiatives that were developed at SIIT throughout the past year, we expanded our healthcare and early childhood education program. We created an online student support hub, student information system, created a student travel program called Go Where Eagles Dare. The Ouellette Partnership, Truth and Reconciliation Program. And what I am currently a part of is the Indigenous Innovation Accelerator Project, and that's where our Miyoskamin program falls under. So just a little background on our Indigenous Innovation Accelerator Project. So during the spring of 2021, SIIT received funding from Sustainable Development and Technology Canada, so SDTC, for the creation of the very first Indigenous Innovation Accelerator of its kind in Saskatchewan. So building on existing networks and capacity, the Indigenous Innovation Accelerator provides skills building, experiential and land-based learning, and mentorship opportunities for innovators of all ages who will have their dreams supported, while creating a space that emphasizes culture, language, and kinship by providing access to traditional knowledge keepers and elders. So through a variety of our initiatives, so we have our Maker Lodge, we have our Miyoskamin program, we have microgrants, Indigenous Innovator in Residence program, and several community outreach and youth focus programs. Our Indigenous Accelerator project works to empower, mentor, and support the next generation of our Indigenous innovators and entrepreneurs in Saskatchewan. So some of the goals of our project. So we want to empower those grassroots Indigenous entrepreneurs and innovators. We know as Indigenous people, we've always been innovative. We've always been entrepreneurs. And so just bringing that to the forefront. Exposure to innovative technologies and entrepreneurship. So in our Maker Lodge is where we house all of our technology. So anything from sewing machines and Cricut machines to 3D printers and film technology. Like we have a lot of tech. Increasing in Indigenous learners pursuing careers in innovation and business development. And so that's kind of where our Miyoskamin Innovation Entrepreneurship Program falls. And collaborative solutions, so creating those collaborative solutions to community level problems, so water quality, housing, food security. We also have hydroponics in our Maker Lodge, and that's getting really popular now with our Indigenous communities within Saskatchewan. So now we'll kind of dive into our Miyoskamin program. So the description, so the Miyoskamin Innovation and Entrepreneurship Applied Certificate Program provides you with the knowledge, the skills, the support systems, and awareness of emerging technologies to succeed on running a small business. So you will learn Indigenous and non-Indigenous worldviews around governance, finance, marketing, labor, and sustainability through guest talks with elders, Indigenous entrepreneurs, and knowledge keepers. Learn land-based practices, and learn from local innovators. So by completing this program, it will help you define what your Indigenous entrepreneurship looks like and how new technologies and traditional practices come together in innovative ways to benefit your community, your business, and your culture. So why Miyoskamin? So we have an Indigenous Innovation Accelerator Committee, and Chief Tammy Cook-Stearson of the Lac La Ronge Indian Band is part of that committee. And she gave us the meaning as she knows it, right? Because as Indigenous people, we need to understand that everyone has their own teachings. And so behind the Cree word Miyoskamin, she taught us that it represents not only fertile ground, but breaking up of the dirt, putting in your seeds. It's like breaking the mold, planting and growing from there. Miyoskamin is a time of breakup of ice and thawing of the ground for planting and growing from the fertile ground to plant seeds to flourish. It's a fertile time of opportunity to seed and grow. It's a time for rebirth and renewal. So birds are returning from south and fish are spawning. So it's really how we see our Miyoskamin program. Is just we're creating that safe space for our entrepreneurs, our Indigenous learners to come in and flourish and kind of renew who they are, right, as innovators and entrepreneurs. So just a few program details. It is a 22-week program. We now broke it into 6 courses. So it works out to about 660 hours and 44 credits. It's a grade 12 requirement for enrollment. It is tuition-based, and they are all in-person classes, and they're on our Saskatoon campus. We currently only offer this in Saskatoon, but my hope is that we eventually get it Saskatchewan-wide and then maybe one day nationally wide, right? We have our second cohort beginning September 12th, 2022, and it'll end February 17th, 2023. And then just a bit more into the program, because that's specifically what I'm speaking on today. So the first course is called Itasca Sue. And just like Michelle mentioned, it's so important for us to include our language. So when we initially created this program, we had 4 courses, and so we had titled them each a Cree name. But since then, we added 2 more, and I'll talk a bit more on to why we did that. And so it's just kind of creating that culture piece. So course 1 is Itasca Sue, from which a solid foundation is built. So this class talks about the foundations of Indigenous innovation and entrepreneurship. So in this course, long-term success in entrepreneurship and innovation means knowing the history you fit into and your value in it. So through elders' teachings, Indigenous history, guided class discussions, and practicing relationship building, this course will help you connect to yourself and your culture. So here you'll grow security and knowing you are part of a community you can rely on and that values who you are. So while learning diverse Indigenous worldviews and practicing traditional protocols, relationship building, and strategic alliance formation, you'll see how adaptability and collective values are systems on which rest all sustainable practices. So in this next slide, I've included photos from our first cohort. And so you can see that they got to do a lot of land-based learnings. This was in the first 2 weeks of their program. So our instructor had a connection to the Whitecap Dakota First Nation. And so he was able to make connections and get our students out on the land there. So you can see like the sled dog racing that they got to experience. They got to tour the Dakota Dunes Hotel. And that's where the students are on the bottom right photo. And then we also brought in Norm Ledoux of Black Sage Drumming, and he got the students to create their own hand drums. So from start to finish, and then they got to paint the hand drums as well, and then they got to keep them. He gave them teachings on the drumming and just kind of built up the cultural identity within the first 2 weeks, because that was very important for us. And then just tying into this as well, like the land-based, when you tie it into entrepreneurship. So one of the things we learned is the students went out and did rabbit snaring. So they learned how to create a rabbit snare, and to tie that into entrepreneurship, it's in order to get a rabbit, you have to have a good snare, right? And so for entrepreneurship, in order to get clients and to get people interested into your business, you have to have a good business pitch or a good business model. And so we always try to interweave our Indigenous worldview, our Indigenous teachings with the Western business. Course 2. So this one, we're just adding into the second cohort. And this one came with the grade 12 requirement for the program. So we learned that with that grade 12 requirement, a lot of our students have been out of school for a long time. And so we need to get them comfortable again with computers and technology, right? And so in course 2, Technologies in the Workplace, it provides students with an introduction to the skills necessary to develop competency in using digital technology. So this includes basic computer applications, Microsoft software, presentation preparation, social media use, and other apps that are useful for the workplace and educational context. So course 3, this one was just added as well. This was Indigenous Foundations. So we also have a business diploma program at SIIT, and that's provided at our 3 main campuses, so Prince Albert, Saskatoon, and Regina. And so we're taking this course from that program as well. And this course focuses on Indigenous perspectives of key historical and contemporary issues within Canada, with a focus on Saskatchewan. So you will explore topics such as Indigenous identities, conflicting worldviews, imposed Western laws, treaties, residential schools, 60s scoop and millennial scoop, relationship and rights to the land, governance, contemporary myths, and social movements. So this framework will allow you to make the necessary connections for identifying and understanding Indigenous peoples' intergenerational trauma. So we felt that this was very important, especially in an Indigenous entrepreneurship program. So initially we had incorporated this, but we didn't dive too much into it, whereas this course does, and it sets up those foundations for our learners to learn from. Course 4, so this one's with Chitawin. So that means the act of helping one another. So this course is the relational approaches of innovation and entrepreneurship. So this course will give the students a chance to learn from the stories and lessons of a diverse range of Indigenous and non-Indigenous small business owners and community innovators. So through the stories and lessons of guest speakers, coursework, and site visits, you will see how different values look from practice in business. So different models of entrepreneurship and innovation will be analyzed and discussed as you shape what your Indigenous entrepreneurship looks like, what it values, and who it serves. So this one of the assignments in this course is the business model canvas. So Sky Southwind, she actually created a business through our program, and it was the Aki Botanicals business. And so you can see how she tied her business model canvas into her business that she created. So her key partners, her key activities, key resources that she was going to reach out to, value propositions, customer relationships, the channels that she was going to get her business out on, revenue streams, cost structure, etc. So this was an assignment that she developed through the program. Course 5 is Miyoskamin. So this means to gather or collect. So this one is sustainable frameworks for design and planning and innovation and entrepreneurship. So this course is skill specific, making sure that you have a foundational in Indigenous and non-Indigenous forms of design, advertising, risk management, governance models, legal and financial literacy. So we brought in Kate Morris, a financial scout, and she ties in the medicine wheel with our finances, whether personal or business. And so that was another connection that we could make to our Indigenous teachings. So between lessons in marketing, budgeting, and business planning, you will create a comprehensive business plan with all the parts needed to succeed and grow your vision. So you will learn from case studies and professionals in different areas of business who will share their expertise, and you will receive teachings from groups who specialize in Indigenous innovation. So in this course, our students got to, throughout the program, they do a lot of networking. They go to a lot of conferences and just getting them out there, right? So that they can get comfortable in those settings. So in this course, they got to attend a pitch event. It was the SOAR pitch event. It was put on by Sarita. And there are Saskatchewan's resource development, I guess. So they developed a SOAR program, and that was for Indigenous entrepreneurs to pitch their event or pitch their businesses. And so our students got to go to that event, and it inspired everyone that went, right? They got to see themselves represented. They saw that when they brought in these entrepreneurs to pitch their business, they brought in our traditional powwow dancers to lead the way. They brought in an elder for prayer. Like, they seen their representation in that room. And so it really inspired them and motivated them. So when they came back, they asked if they could develop a pitch event. And that's what you can see on this slide here. So we had 11 students complete the program. Every one of them pitched their business idea. Some had product that they could showcase. So one of our students wanted to create a food truck. And so she brought in her own cooking and got to share that with the judges. And there was also a panel of judges that graded each of the students on their pitch, and they had the top 3 winners. So those are the 3 there. So Sky, she's in the middle. She won first, and it was her assignment that I had initially showed. But she won first place, and it was because she connected her business to the 7 grandfather teachings. So how her business kind of correlated with that. And she also tied it into the SDGs, so Sustainable Development Goals. So just looking at like how her business can feed off the land and be sustainable, and yeah. And then we had Cal and Scott, and so they won second and third. And it was just how they sold their business to us within the 5 minutes that they had. And then in the photo here, you could also see Clara. She's a fashion designer, and she was all about sustainable designs. So she only works with a certain kind of fabric, so that can be broken down. The outfit she's wearing, she made. It was just an amazing experience, and the students were so inspired by it. Then we have course 6. So course 6 is the Kakiao, which means to complete. And so this is our Capstone Project. So this is building community solutions and innovation and entrepreneurship. So this course brings all the skills, the knowledge, and the creativity learned from the past courses together into a final project. So in small teams or individually, and with help from the relationships you built along the way, you will choose a community organization or local Indigenous business that can benefit from social innovation. So after building a relationship with them and seeing where they can benefit from your talents, you will develop an innovation strategy that addresses their needs. So applying each aspect of small business development, the comprehensive innovation strategy will be applied to a real-world setting. So from research to opportunity identification, design, and financial strategy, and then presentation. So with this capstones, all 11 students completed their capstone. They were all successful. This course is the only pass or fail course in the program. The others are graded. One of our students had worked in a northern community, so she did her capstone with northern communities and spoke to elders, interviewed elders on the effects of the mining companies and how that's affecting our water. And so that was one of the capstones. Another group of students worked with an Indigenous business in Regina. It was a hair and beauty salon, and they helped her just increase her presence on social media. So they helped her with social media posts, just creating her website, editing photos, things like that. Because one of the things that our students are able to do is get a digital marketing certificate through our program. And so in this past cohort, we partnered with Blue Moose Media in Saskatoon, and they got our students certified on a 4-day training. And so they learned a lot from that, took a lot away, and then applied that to their capstone projects, and then furthermore into their own businesses. One of the things that we developed for this program was an Auntie in residence. So because the students are being courageous, right? They're taking risks. They're going out of their comfort zones, especially when you've always had this idea of a business, but you never actually pursued it. And so we knew that we had to create a position aside from the instructor that could be supporting, especially in the classroom. So our Auntie in residence does stay in the classroom. It's about 3 days a week. It's a part-time contract. And yeah, so when we were speaking about who this person could be, we knew that in our Indigenous community, that person is always an auntie. They're always that second person, that second parent for us. They're that supportive person that one can kind of keep us on track, especially when we're kind of veering off. Yeah, so this was it's such a positive position to create, especially for the program. And a lot of our students said that they probably couldn't have finished this program if it wasn't for the auntie in the classroom. So I want to show you this video. I'm hoping it works. Can you hear it? Yeah, okay.
SIIT has always been innovative in terms of our programs. This program is just another iteration of how we blend Indigenous knowledge, Indigenous pedagogies, of Indigenous approaches to teaching our students, and looking at business and innovation through an Indigenous lens.
We want the students to be grounded every day. We combine Indigenous knowledge combined with content like business technology and the business world.
A lot of the students don't know what they would necessarily want to do yet, but this is a program to get into because there's so much support systems to help, bring your seeds into a plant and keep growing.
The staff are so helpful. It seems like there's no way you can fail if you really try, if you don't miss classes. All you gotta do is just work towards your goal.
Everyone here will support you and will want to see the best for you. And that's an experience you won't really get in a traditional classroom even.
So the integration of the auntie in residence, we were thinking of ways of how are we going to create that bubble? What can we do to make that space familiar and safe to our Indigenous students? So the auntie in residence, they're not elders, but they work alongside elders. They're helpers in the communities. They are those moral compasses when we're veering off in a direction that we should be heading on. They guide us back to where we should be heading.
I believe that for myself as a Métis entrepreneur, sometimes I feel a little underrepresented. So I think we have a group of individuals who are going to walk out of our program and say, hey, this is me, and I am an Indigenous entrepreneur, and I am going to do amazing things.
Oftentimes people think that, an entrepreneurship program is about starting a business, but this program is about so much more. It's about developing communication skills, collaboration skills, problem solving skills. All of those skills would be essential and impactful for the communities in different ways.
I want a small business. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do the things that I like and pursue the hobbies and interests that I like, and to do that in the business field.
We have the best of both worlds. We are taking our worldview, we are taking our customs, our culture, our history, our traditions, and we are incorporating them and using them in a way to balance with the entrepreneurship side of Western business to allow us to be successful no matter what our entrepreneurship idea is. And I think that's so important. This program is going to assist these students in finding that balance, that connection, and really help them celebrate that who you are is going to help you determine what you can become.
So I thought I would include that because it does summarize the program in such a heartfelt way, especially to have those testimonials from not only the instructor, the auntie in residence, the director of our project, but the students as well, because they're the people that we want to hear from, right? Especially when we have new programs, we want to hear from our students. So this next part, I want to hear from you now. So if you could all either go to slido.com or if you can scan that QR code. I just have a few questions for you. Thank you, Michelle. I see you. I see your phone up on the screen. So I'll give you a few minutes, and this also helps me take a little break from talking. And this is also like the teacher side of me, right? With all my education, I need to have interaction from everyone. I can't just kind of speak about something. Okay, is everyone able to get on there? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so this next one, I just want to know where you're from. So what community are you from? If you're unable to do the Slido, you can also just put in the chat. It just allows me to see kind of who I'm reaching today. Nice, very good. It's the other thing with Slido, like it comes up instantly, so. Okay, I still see one more person typing, so I'm gonna wait. Okay. Oh, wow. So we do have kind of a wide range of people today. Well, thank you for joining. Okay, so this next question. So how would a program like this benefit your community? So thinking of everything that I kind of discussed today, I know I gave a very broad overview, but how do you feel that a program like this would benefit your community? Capacity building, exactly, learning new skills, culture, a supportive environment. That's so needed, right? Especially as Indigenous people, we need that supportive environment, especially when you're going to have to take risks. Like you want to know you're in a safe space. The experience and the exposure, the incorporation. This is good. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one. I'm just assuming we're done. It's kind of hard when we do this just like online, virtual, not in person. So this next one, what would benefit your community that this program is missing? Right? Of course, we know we don't know all the answers. So what would benefit your community that we're missing and that we could possibly tie into our program in the future? Maybe I'll give you a little bit more time for this. If you can't think of anything, you can even write, like, I can't think of anything at the moment, or connecting with other Indigenous programs across the country. No, that's true. No, that's important too, the wellness component. I've been at SIIT for 3.5 years now, and for the first 2.5, I taught in the mental health and wellness program. So I do understand, especially that whole holistic component, right? We need to reach every quadrant. All right. Well, thank you for all of those. it kind of just gives me a little bit more insight to let us know like we are on the right path, and just maybe include a couple more things. But no, thank you for that. So I'm just going to briefly talk on our project a little bit more before I kind of wrap up today. And so just kind of where the program, the Miyoskamin program, kind of fit into it and why we created it. So with our Indigenous Innovation Accelerator project, some of the current initiatives that we are working on. So of course, the Miyoskamin Innovation Entrepreneurship Applied Certificate Program, the Auntie in Residence position we created specifically for that program. I was also hoping that that would set precedent for other post-secondary institutes, right? To showcase how important this role is, especially for Indigenous learners. We need that support system in higher education. Microgrants, we have microgrants and entrepreneurship wraparound supports. So that was another thing we learned, is that funding for Indigenous entrepreneurs is hard to come by. Otherwise, there's a lot of obstacles that we have to cross in order to get that funding. So we created a microgrant program where we provide up to $5,000 for Indigenous entrepreneurs to apply for. So there is an application process, and it's just really for our startup funders, or for those, or startup businesses, sorry, or those who are already kind of mid-level, beginning mid-level entrepreneurs who need just the extra support, right? And then wraparound supports. So one of the programs that we did, we partnered with Blue Moose Media again, except with community Indigenous entrepreneurs. And so we got our Indigenous entrepreneurs to join in virtually and get their digital marketing certificate. So we had participants from all over Saskatchewan kind of enroll in that. So that was another amazing opportunity that we provided through the project. We have innovation work placements. So we created work integrated learning, and that's just to like inspire the entrepreneurial mindset with our students at SIIT, and no matter which program you're in. So I worked with students in our aircraft maintenance engineering program. I work with them in our mental health program, the business program, just kind of how to, ignite, I guess, that entrepreneurship spark that we all have as Indigenous people. We have student employment opportunities. So through our Maker Lodge, we created so our STEAM-based youth camps. So we have a few of our summer students or our SIIT students kind of partake in that, and we pay them for that. We had one student, she was in our business program here in Saskatoon, and she has a beading business. And so we hired her to create beaded business card holders for our students in the Miyoskamin program. And so every one of those students got to have a moose hide beaded business card holder, and that was thanks to her. What else? We have our Indigenous Innovator in Residence. So our first Indigenous Innovator was Tanya LaRose, and she's the first female Indigenous real estate agent in Saskatchewan. And so, or in Saskatoon, sorry, and she's competing with over 650 other real estate agents. So she was our first innovator in residence, and she connected a lot with our students. She did a lot with our students, which was very nice. And she worked very closely with, I think, over 300 students she connected with. So it was an amazing position. And right now we have Dawn Pratt. She is a chemist. And so she ties a lot of science and Indigenous worldview together. She created robots, and then created powwow robots. So powwow dancing robots is. So she connects a lot with our students here on campus as well. We have, like I said, our STEAM-based youth camps and community. So my colleagues, Tia, Jordan, Noah, and Dion are currently on their way to Isla Cross. It's a northern community in Saskatchewan, and they're going to go host a youth camp there for a few days. Next week, they're in another Indigenous community within Saskatchewan, and next month there's some more. And so they're really getting out there, and that's thanks to our mobile Maker Lodge as well. And so we're getting our tech from our in-house Maker Lodge into our mobile Maker Lodge and getting it to community. And then the Indigenous Pathways to Entrepreneurship workbook. So I created this workbook based around the 7 grandfather teachings, and it's really just an introduction to our Indigenous entrepreneurs. So one of our teachings on the 7 grandfather teachings is love. You have to love what you do. And so that ties into entrepreneurship, right? And so I'm working with our career centers to kind of get that out, because our career centers are situated throughout Saskatchewan. So if I get that workbook to our career centers, they can reach a wider scope of our Indigenous people across Saskatchewan. And yeah, so that summarizes everything today. If you have any questions or comments that you want to make, like after, you can just email our innovation email account. So innovation@siit.ca. And that should be everything.
Awesome. Samantha, thank you so much for enlightening us and inspiring us about what you're doing. I feel like this is such a gift to Saskatchewan, like such a gift. So thanks for doing what you're doing, blazing that trail. I particularly was moved by, I guess, the metaphor of making a good rabbit snare, and so that you can get that animal. So it's like you compare that to having a good business plan so that you can get those good contracts, you know, clientele. So I liked that. So thank you for sharing. Does anyone have any questions? We'd love to hear from you, or comments. The floor is open. Did you mention a time frame? Oh, go ahead, Matthew.
I just want to say thank you, Ichka. That was good presentation.
Thank you. I was so nervous. And then when I got the call, like, we started 2 minutes, where are you? I was like, oh my gosh. And so I kind of pushed that nervousness aside and had to like just rush up here, right?
Yeah.
I had no time to smudge before I came, so I'll smudge after now. Thank you though.
Thanks.
Yes, it was a good presentation. Is there a time frame? I don't know if you mentioned that.
On the program?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a 5-month program. So this cohort in the fall will run from September to February. The last one ran from February to June.
Okay.
So yeah.
And is it like, I was kind of in transition there. So is it like 5 days a week, or?
Yeah, it's a Monday to Friday. It's a full course
quite the
load, yeah.
commitment. Good.
Yeah.
Amazing. I can imagine it's transforming to the students who participate and are engaged in it. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Ken, AKA Zen, has his hands up. Come on in.
Yeah, I've got a question. I guess it's a 2-part question, and it's an outreach to employers to the employers for what they may request that you have in your courses. And the second part is a request for employers that you could do some remedial Indigenous training for their existing employees or new hires. So it's sensitivity training. So just two ways, sort of what they may outreach to employers, what they may want you to teach for future employees that they may bring on, or also remedial training for remedial is probably a bad word, but for training for their existing employees for sensitivity in particular areas of Indigenous concern. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Not quite sure how to answer that. I know what this program, it's specifically the 5-month, right? But we are, through our project, developing kind of a micro-credential. We are on our path to creating micro-credential workshops so that we can do those teachings, right? And it doesn't have to be that full-time commitment. So we are working towards that. I just don't have a specific answer for the your question, sorry.
It really wasn't a question. It was just a suggestion that if you're dealing with, you do outplacement for students, and not all of them will be innovative self-start businesses. So some of them will want to be employees. So that was just the comment that if you're communicating with employers, that those two things are sort of what they want from future employees, and what they may want some sensitivity training for existing employees. Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you.
I also really am curious about that workbook that you created. I think that that is such a good resource for the people, and to be able to probably take the workbook at home and do that kind of stuff and just be guided along the way. I think that is an excellent resource. So good for you for creating that. So proud of you. And I love the Auntie in is it Auntie in Residence?
Yeah.
I'm moved by that myself. I was surrounded by aunties in the community yesterday, and yesterday was a hard day for our people, and being surrounded by those aunties and that good medicine, that good energy, is so important to our people and so important to the programs we offer. So I honor that you bring that into the program and see that that's so valuable. Love it. I love it all. It's so great. Okay, well, Matthew had to head out. Ken asked his questions. Michael, I don't know if you have any questions or comments, but we're glad that you're here. I'm inspired. So would people just contact you or submit the application through you, through your website, not your website, your business email? Is that?
For the Miyoskamin program? Yeah, you will go to SIIT.ca.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's listed with all of our other programs. It falls under the business headline, I believe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks, Samantha, for being here. And you did awesome job.
Thank you.
Especially last minute, if you thought it was, an hour later, you rocked it. So thank you for bringing your knowledge here and really inspiring us and showing us this is possible. So thank you so much. Take care, everyone. We'll see you again. Be well. Peace.
Thank you.